Hi there everyone. It's been an age, hasn't it, since we last had any communication with you, and Kelly and I figured it was time that we check in with you again, say hello, let you know what we've been up to. I know some people think that we launched the book last year and then disappeared off into the sunset. Maybe you've been wondering where we went, and maybe you've just been grateful for the quiet, except for the chickens in the background. Maybe you can hear them. I'm sitting here in our little pagoda. Do you know what? The number of times I Google which is the right one, and I still don't know. Anyway, sitting in our little thing, and you'll see that behind me, all this beautiful greenery here is actually a grapevine. And when I put the camera here, this is such a dad joke moment, and I put the camera here, I thought, oh, I'm going to make a comment about being here in the grapevine, and then they can say that they heard it through the grapevine. Oh, laugh along, why don't you? Anyway, here we are, listening to it through the grapevine. So it's been well over a year. We're nearly in August 2025, and the last update was as we launched the book, which was over 12 months ago. We had just the most fabulous gathering at the Freud Museum in London in September to officially launch it. I'm massively grateful for the support. Thanks to those of you that bought a copy, and even more so to those that bought a copy and left a review on Amazon. If you haven't left a review, please do. It means a lot, actually. It makes a real difference to sales and the number of books that Amazon order in. So we're really grateful for that. We made Amazon bestseller. We're getting some lovely reviews in, and I didn't have any big ideals of where the book would go. I just wanted it to, in some way, capture the felt, embodied experience of living with dissent, and by doing so, hoping that maybe we would gently stroke the lives and hearts of others. So if it opened that up just to one person, then happy days. It's certainly opened up a pathway for me to explore more about dissent and loss and shadow and the dark times. And we are all living amongst some really devastatingly difficult times around us, where we watch much collapsing, systems collapsing, our educational systems, our political systems. We are looking at wars, genocide, in our hope that maybe things like racism would just find a way to at least settle a bit, so that people's lives, people who have been disenfranchised and closed out of society, maybe could have a chance to reintegrate. I don't know if it feels like that's getting any better. What I look at is see people living with enormous despair and sorrow, and much of that is repressed and pushed down. So I feel just an enormous pull, more and more, to be working with that, and working with those who are living with grief, and finding ways that they can be in better relationship with their grief. And I think, you know, since we last updated you, Kelly and I, we continued to live through months of dissent. Our entire house flooded during Storm Bert at the back end of last year, under a foot of water. We obviously lost belongings and furniture. The cottage that is on our plot that our best friend Jack was living in, fortunately she was in hospital at the time, was also completely flooded, which was just disastrous. And I can't tell you, when water is pouring into your house, it is the stuff of nightmares. Anyway, we have kind of, well, we're actually having a bit of work done on one of the rooms today, which feels a long time in the coming, but it hit us hard. And then in January this year, Kelly's dad sadly died. His cancer, which never really left, just was reignited and spread to his liver, and they diagnosed him as being terminal just before Christmas, and he died a couple of weeks later, which was just a massive blow and a shock, and all that comes with that. And then our very dear friend who came to live with us last year, Jack, who we also found out that her cancer was terminal and really back in action again towards the end of last year, but really the beginning of this year, springtime again, that accelerated. And Jack wanted to die here, and we wanted to make that possible. So between Kelly and I and Jack's daughter Lauren and Jack and the wonderful Dorothy House care team from the hospice here and the RUH at Bath and Jack's just many beautiful friends and community, found a way to make that possible. And sadly Jack died a couple of months ago now, which we were all there for, and by her bedside. And I hope, I sincerely hope, I think, and I know this in my heart, that we gave Jack the best final year of her life that we could have possibly given her. And of course the land did, and the chickens and Royston and being in countryside and being amongst Mother Earth supported her. And then a couple of weeks ago we found out that Kelly's stepmom also has cancer, and it's bowel cancer, and it's spread, and she is now terminal. And it feels relentless. And I know we decided to set up a cancer charity, and yet wherever we turn at the moment, we have either friends being diagnosed or friends dying with cancer. And it's very arresting for me inside, very arresting, and obviously for Kelly and I. It's a lot to navigate and to make some sense of. And Kelly is, as you know, is utterly brilliant in so many ways, and her knowledge and understanding of cancer is broad and deep, and so much so that she's often asked, "Are you a doctor?" when she's at the hospital. And what she has to say is, "No, sadly, I've just kind of had too much experience of living with it." So descent continues, and testing continues, and us being stretched to our limits continues, it seems. My own health, I guess, I am still in remission, which is good. I was reminded by my oncologist at my last appointment, probably a couple of months ago as well, that you do know this is incurable, don't you? And you do know that you will relapse. So there was no even vague sense of possibility for a different outcome. You will relapse. And he said, I don't know if that will be 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, but you will. And, you know, I know in my heart that it is incurable, or I know in my body, whatever incurable means. And I'm trying to find that blend of being sensible, listening to my body, continuing to learn and embody the wisdom that came from being unwell, and at the same time understanding that the way we live here, or endeavouring to live, must hold some slither of possibility and potential for that outcome to be different. So hearing that was hard, and I guess then the rest of my cancer becomes almost invisible. I have peripheral neuropathy in my feet, which continues to get worse. I've just been fitted for hearing aids, which I'm not wearing today. I'm trying to find the right time to really work out how they're going to best work for me. But that was the decision that was taken, to fit them. My hearing is problematic as a result of one of my drugs. And then there's other stuff that my body just is not playing ball with, maybe, or used to do but now doesn't do, or functioned well but now doesn't function quite so well. So that is hard. We're changing our diet. We're having a big change of diet and going to try for a while at least a ketotarian approach. So some keto diet aspects, going right down on carbs and keeping in our chicken and our fish and our eggs. Just trying to get some levels in my body to settle a bit. So onwards we go on, and living in this state of constant adaptation and adjustment. Kelly and I have a few days away at the end of next week for our anniversary, which is going to be blissful, which we need, just even for just a change of scenery, let alone just some time, just Kelly and I, to regroup. Mia is going to be farmer Mia for a few days and looking after the alpacas and the chickens and the boy and the bees that we've got, but she won't need to be looking after the bees, but we have bees now, which is a baptism of learning. So I guess we've achieved a lot in the last year. It feels like we've certainly done a lot. What I know is every day's a school day, and I remember those school days where I would forget my notebook and my pen, my pencil and my rubber and my gym kit. And that's our school day. We get up each day and we seem to keep coming back to school. But this wave of constant learning, and it feels like it's taken us 12 months really to learn the rhythms a bit of the land and understand what grows in our garden, what plants are here. We have some different things to last year, and of course this year our environment feels brutalized by the weather, and that's having an impact on what is growing, trying to grow, not managing to grow. Kelly is just the master of that over there, which you can maybe just see. Can you see it now? Not quite, because you can't because of the light, but there's a polytunnel and a greenhouse, and we've got veg and fruit, and we're kind of figuring out land management and understanding what the seasons present us with here and what our natural world present us with, and the 5 alpacas and our chickens and our bees and our beautiful boy. We had pigs for a while, that we rented the land out to a family that had a couple of pigs. The pigs have now gone to make way for the bees. So tons of adjustment, and it's beautiful and exhilarating and enlivening and enriching, and some days it's just simply freaking hard. Our list of things to do feels like it's never ending, and the contrast for me is I'm back up in London once a month. I'm completing my psychotherapy training that I had to abandon when I got diagnosed, and going back up to London for 4 days a month. Wow, that's hard. Smoggy, grubby, hot, aggressive, packed, noisy. It's like sensory. It's like ridding me of everything in my body for 4 days, and then I come back here and my place of happiness, not just because of Kelly and Mia and the animals, but actually just being amongst the land and nature feels like it absorbs and hydrates my soul, and London just dehydrates my soul. So we've made some changes to the Willow Tree as well. As you know, we were under Kingston Charitable Foundation, and leaving Kingston meant that we had to change that. So we meant that our charitable status trust was we had to give up on that bit, and we decided to set ourselves up as a CIC, which seemed like the best way to take the willow tree forward, which is still front and center of our vision and what we're hoping for. And I guess what that meant was us thinking about who did we want to serve, and how could we best serve our communities with what we have here. And we questioned, I suppose, whether serving a cancer community was too narrow for what we could offer, and did we need to broaden that out a bit and deepen that a bit, which is what we've decided to do. So we are still going to continue having at the very heart of it supporting those who are living with a cancer, so more than just blood cancer. But we're also widening it out into how do we help people with this very sacred, special piece of land we have here, help people reconnect to the natural world. But of course, ultimately, that is whilst they are tending the land, and the natural world is also about tending their soul. And really the thread through what the willow tree offers is going to be the nature connection, reconnecting with nature. And we want to do that for obviously a bigger scale longing and pull, which is to find ways that we can best take care of our planet, but also best leave this planet in as good a state as we can. And how do we use that as a real parallel process with helping people tend their own land and their own inner terrain whilst tending the outer terrain. So we're bringing in many of the Rudolf Steiner approach around anthroposophical ways of living, which is about the art and science of being most fully human, and in a way that in a salutogenetic way. So rather than the world that we live in, which is treats everything as pathology, and what we're wanting here is to live with salutogenesis, which is really creating the conditions for optimum health, and looking at all the different ways in which we can guide people around that. And still, of course, an integrative way of working with our bodies. Orthodox medicine is essential, we know that, and I know that from the last 3 years for me. But also we do need to look beyond just orthodox medicine. It doesn't hold all the answers. And looking at how supplementation and engaging a reconnection with soul, thinking about diet, thinking about the container and the vessels in which we place ourselves for optimum health, and especially that vessel of Mother Earth is essential. And we have this plot. We are very privileged to be the guardians of this little plot of land, and we want to I guess find ways that this land can support people and the people can support the land. So we certainly have a lot of plans for what we're going to do here. I'm looking here because I've got notes, because my brain that used to be able to store lots now seems like it isn't able to quite as well. So we're starting to run programs as part of the Willow Tree. We're running a remission program, which is going to be a 10-week program in nature that's starting in September. We're running holding grief walks. Our first grief walk, which is going to be at Westonbirt Arboretum, is at the end of August. We're having nature connection days, which is our more than human workshops. So having people here on the land where they get to experience life on the land, they get to be a part of hanging out with the animals, they get to ignite some of their creative gut and creative heart by making things. The workshops will include foraging, will include a bit of cooking, some reflection on food, So really, spaces which are about slowing down and slowing down and slowing down, and then once we've slowed down, going a little bit slower, which isn't easy for people because we're living in our outer terrain. The encouragement is to go faster. So these are going to be experiences that are really open for all. And my favourite word, which Kelly mocks me for, which is convivium, which is this idea of a sense of a place where people come together to feast. And that feasting is not just feasting on food, but feasting on the land, feasting on love, feasting on the nourishment that can be derived from people and human connection, and being witnessed and being listened to, and being given space to and encouragement to bring all of yourself here, not just a part of yourself. So feels like we're getting closer and closer to understanding what we want to be doing more of and why we're doing that, and now it's the breathing life into it. And we are very fortunate to have seem oddly a load of people that really like us, and especially trust funds. So we are at the moment funded to run our remission program, so that's free. The grief walks are free. We're going to be running more grief ceremonies and a grief program, and that will be free. Our More Than Human workshops, there will be some costs for us to cover costs, but also there is funding in there so that we can offer as much as possible to as many people as possible and keep the quality and the attention really high in it. So we are fortunate that we have a couple of trust funds that seem to support what we do, and we're enormously grateful for that. And at the same time, the GoFundMe page stays open because we want to continue to fund as much as possible to run for free. You will know that we talked a couple of years ago about having a healing hub on the land where we can offer integrative treatments for free. So using the equipment that we have, like the oxygen machine and the infrared sauna, and we've got kit. So that is still our hope. But like anything that requires planning permission and agreement from the council, and when you choose to live in an area of outstanding natural beauty where you can't actually put a fence post up without having to apply for it, that takes some time. So all the donations that come in, but I guess my point is to say donations remain open and our arms go, yes please, because we still have a lot to fund, which is the Healing Hub and our programs. And part of the reason for setting ourselves up as a CIC, which is that can sit at the core of ways in which we can fund what we do here. For those of you that follow us on social, Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, you'll see that the Willow Tree pages there have also broadened out and deepened out, and we're covering things like natural healing and biodynamic farming, good old Charles Dowding and his no-dig approach. There'll be lots of pictures and videos of animals. There'll be more talk of grief and our remission program. So it will be much more about what is happening on the land here, the things we are discovering and learning. So if you're not already following us, you can easily find us. I'm sure there'll be some links around this video. Kelly will put them somewhere special, won't you, Kelly? I feel for Kelly because she never quite knows what she's going to get when she looks at this video and goes, oh my God. Anyway, what we do want is for people to visit. We make this offer and we say, come and visit us. And I think lots of people think that we're just saying that, but we do mean that. Come and visit, it is very special here. This piece of land, there's something about it which you just feel it. The land is special. And I think a month or so ago we found that there is a megalithic site, literally a 5-minute walk from our house. And there's something quite humbling when we remember the ways in which this land was used thousands and thousands of years ago, and that the footprint that walked this land before us, and it feels that energetically, it feels very rich and intense. So do come and visit. We are always open to ways in which we can collaborate with people, and if you feel there's a way in which you could collaborate and add to what we do here and make it better than it is, then please come and speak to us about that. We certainly don't have all the answers. We're far from it, and we are endeavouring to go. The people that we need to find and who need to find us, that will all work beautifully. So there is a lot to make the most of. So it's a long way of saying, this is a long video to say hello, for you to hear an update, hear it through the grapevine. I'm just never going to let that gag go. And just to say that we are still here. We're just beavering away, trying to figure it out. And at the same time, finding ways to look after our own health and bodies and settle our nervous systems and live with all of the intention that we came here for, which was to live a gentler life. I'm not sure if we've quite nailed that one yet, but there are moments of gentleness. Have a look at the new website, because it says a lot more about what we're doing, and it's good to be back in touch. And I hope your summers, whenever you get to watch this, are treating you well, have treated you well, and come and stay. Come and hang out with us here. You are always very welcome. From me and Kelly and Royston and all the animals and the bees, each of them, and Mia, we send you a lot of love, and we'll see you again soon. It won't be a year, I promise. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.